Hi everyone, it's William. It's excuse me, an overcast Saturday here in the Portland area, 2nd of August 2025, and this is the Grand Duke Dmitri Diary series. We are in 1915 today. There seems to be some interest in Dmitri's Young Russia speeches in 1935 and 1936, so I appreciate that. And our recap for 1935, we had Dmitri expressing some pride in Soviet achievements, which I'm sure you know ruffled a few feathers. In 1915, we had reading and sledding, pretty standard stuff. And our cast today is Maria, two members of the large Galitsyn clan, Brasova and Balashova, so the two ladies with names that start with the letter B that Dmitri is interested in at the moment. It is the 30th of January / the 12th of February 1915. Usovo, 9 to 11 degrees below freezing, so a little warmer. Sunny with just a little wind. And before I start, I will say that I have a treat today, a treat for me, hopefully a treat for you. Dmitri refers to a letter that he wrote, as you'll see, and the text of the letter has been preserved in Russia, in one of the state archives, I think in Moscow. And my Russian colleagues, Alexandra and Natasha, were able to obtain a copy. So I am going to, it's short, it's only a couple lines, but I think you'll be interested in hearing it when you find out the nature of the letter. Okay, here we go. I got up around 10 o'clock. We had coffee together, after which we went outside and slid down the hill, of course. Maria, as before, fell almost every time and even hurt herself badly, but fortunately it all turned out all right. We went home around 12:30. I put on a tunic, and at 1 o'clock we had lunch. The two Galitsyns were there, he and she. He is a surgeon, and she was born Glebova. They both have a connection to the hospitals of Ilinskaya, Usovo, and Zubalov. They turned out to be really nice. After lunch, we all went to the hospital. Maria asked the wounded men questions, but I was mostly silent. Later, after the Galitsyns had left, we went back to the hill. We messed around there until about 4 o'clock, then went home. We had tea at 5 o'clock, after which I read Superconsciousness. Dinner was at 8 o'clock, after which we listened to the gramophone, and then the four of us played nap. I received 2 crosses from Brasova, a pectoral cross and a St. George's cross. Very touching. I answered her with a shocking letter. After tea at 11 o'clock, I wrote a letter to Balashova. I do want to see her. All right, and I guess I'll go right to the text of the shocking letter. I don't think you'll find it very shocking, but Dmitri apparently thought he was being a little daring, let us say. All right, here it is. Thank you, my dear. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for what you sent. I received both crosses with great joy. They are direct proof that you've been thinking about me lately. I knew it. Okay, not very shocking, except for, they're a little step further in what could be and possibly was an illicit relationship. I knew it. I knew you were thinking about me. All right, here we go. The Galitsyns. Okay, huge family, huge family. And these two, Alexander Vladimirovich and Lyubov Vladimirovna, apparently were not Galitsyns whom Dmitri had met before. So we find out that he's a surgeon. Dmitri says he's a surgeon, which was indeed the case. His wife, apparently, Dmitri doesn't say that she was a nurse, but she had some kind of activity at these 3 hospitals. I hadn't heard of Zubalov before. Zubalov, Ilinskaya, and Usovo we know, so it's interesting to find out that they had military hospitals, that they had lazarets. I'm sure you know they were scattered all over in the vicinity of probably everywhere, anywhere near a capital city or a front in Russia, because there was such a need for them. So the Golitsins were both in their 30s. And yeah, Dmitri says they turned out to be nice. So, you know, he hadn't met them before, obviously. It always interests me that with women, he's sort of at pains to say what their maiden name was. And I'm not sure, you know, why, but seems to be important to him. Maybe not on snobbish grounds, but just because it sort of put them in a context that he could, these are people I know, this family, or they're not people I know. I don't know. Maybe it was snobbish. So the visit to the lazaret, the military hospital, it makes me laugh because it's exactly the same as when they were kids. Maria didn't mind going to the military hospitals that were there in the aftermath of the Russo-Japanese War, and that Ella, Grand Duchess Elizabeth, was very actively involved in. Maria didn't mind, and she seemed to have an ability to chat with the wounded and the recovering and not have any problem with that. But Dmitri was very shy when it came to such things, and he talked about in the 1906-1907 diaries about going to the lazarets and just not knowing what to say and feeling like an idiot just standing there. And apparently that was still a problem. And, you know, believe it or not, for this guy who's sort of out on the town and has no difficulty at all picking up women whom he's never met in his life, he was kind of shy, especially in situations with groups of people that he didn't know. So, he has had a change of mind about Balashova. That didn't take long, did it? He was saying, I don't think I'm interested in her anymore when the letter came, and now the very next day, I do actually want to see her. Okay, but she's got a little competition with Natalya Brasova. So it's interesting that Brasova sent crosses specifically. I didn't know that Dmitri had an interest or that he collected them or anything like that. One of them being, a pectoral cross. And I think of a pectoral cross as not just being the small baptismal crosses that all Orthodox Christians theoretically wear all the time, but a pectoral cross is something that a clergy member would wear that's, large. So why would he want that? Well, he doesn't say, but maybe it was an antique. I don't know. And the St. George's Cross, I assume that he's not talking about the military order. Not sure why he would want that, because he had one of his own that had been awarded to him. But again, maybe it was an antique, or maybe there's a cross of St. George, like, the Maltese cross or something like that I don't know about. But anyway, it's interesting to me that he was interested in acquiring these things. I can't think of any other reference in the diaries to that, although he does seem to collect other antique things. Okay, but they're very much appreciated, whether they were something that she knew he would like or she took a chance. This is the relationship that's going to unfold, and indeed we're coming up rather rapidly. I think within 2 or 3 days of this diary entry, he'll be back in Moscow. He's dying to get there. And then within a very short time back in Petrograd. And Brasova is going to be a fixture in these diary entries. So, and speaking of that, what do we have next time in the next 1935 video about the speech, the conclusion of the Young Russia speech from June 12th, 1935. Dmitri is going to fill us in on the unbelievable things that he says he's heard. So, and he's going to refer to Kirill in a way that really surprised me. All right, and when we're back to 1915, we will have a visit with Sis to Ilinskaya. Maybe she was feeling a little nostalgic and wanted to go and see it. And we will have a 2-hour walk in the middle of the night. I mean, really in the middle of the night. So what was up with that? Yeah, I don't know. Thank you for watching. Come back next time. Bye.